नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल दोस्तों। मैं हूं अमरजीत नागी और आज एक नया पॉडकास्ट लेके आपके सामने फिर हाजिर हैं। और आज का टॉपिक जो है वो थोड़ा डिफरेंट है, थोड़ा थॉटफुल है। एंड द टॉपिक इटसेल्फ इज thoughtful, reflective and meaningful discussions versus very shallow, disorderly, gossip type discussions. And these two type of discussions, if you indulge regularly in them as a matter of habit, then what impact do they have on your mind, your brain? Over a period of time, I think there is enough evidence that if you indulge in thoughtful, reflective discussions in a orderly fashion, in a structured fashion, then आपका जो ब्रेन है उसकी मेमोरी, उसके न्यूरल पाथवेज, उसकी जो रिफ्लेक्टिवनेस है और न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी जिसे आमतौर पे कहा जाता है, आपकी लर्निंग कैपेसिटी, आपकी कॉग्निटिव स्किल्स, ये सारी इंप्रूव करती हैं. And especially, as you're aging, I think that's a wonderful benefit that people can derive. And on the other hand, if people indulge in, the shallow, fear-mongering, gossip type discussion, which gives us a temporary kind of stimulation, it has the opposite effect. If you do that on regular basis, it has an opposite effect, i.e., it causes stress. Your memory temporarily becomes blocked, and your neural pathways develop differently. तो आज इसी टॉपिक पे बात करेंगे. हमारे साथ अवनीश जी जुड़ चुके हैं. अवनीश भारद्वाज जी, क्या हाल चाल है आपके? वेलकम.
वेरी वेल, थैंक यू अमर.
तो अवनीश साहब, आज का टॉपिक यही है कि आमतौर पे जब हम कहीं मिलते हैं, किसी से ग्रुप डिस्कशन में होते हैं या सोशल सेटिंग में होते हैं, so our natural habit is to fall into very shallow day-to-day type discussion, which sort of degenerates into anger, degenerates into meaningless banter. ठीक है. And if we do that regularly enough, apparently what it causes is it creates a sort of a state of anger in your mind. और आप जाते हो, यार ये क्या, मैं क्यों आ गया इस जगह? Why am I doing it? And if you do that regularly, I think it affects your brain functioning as well. And on the other hand, if your discussions are reflective, thoughtful, meaningful, and they are structured, right, you get a nice feeling. और हमारे हिस्ट्री में भी इसके बारे में काफी कहा गया है, सत्संग है, गोष्ठियां हैं और इस तरह के. तो इसी बारे में थोड़ा बातचीत करना चाहेंगे आपसे. क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप? हाउ डज ए स्ट्रक्चर्ड, thoughtful, reflective discussion versus a very shallow, meaningless banter discussion, how they affect your brain? Over to you.
Yeah, very good point, Amar. They say that choose your conversations carefully,
Wow.
because they are silently affecting our neural pathways, and eventually they reflect in our behavior, and then they become our character, or जिसको हम कहते हैं कि default mode. In the neuroscience they call it default mode, और शास्त्रों के हिसाब से या संस्कृति के हिसाब से उसको स्वभाव कहते हैं कि वो स्वभाव बन जाता है. एंड दैट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द चाइल्डहुड इटसेल्फ, जिसको संस्कार कहते हैं, जो संस्कार डेवलप होते हैं. सो आवर ब्रेन अडैप्ट्स टू व्हाटएवर इट इज प्रैक्टिसिंग, एंड व्हाट यू जस्ट मेंशन्ड एज वेल. If our conversations, our interactions are meaningful, thoughtful, kind, considerate, calm, then the neural pathways are developed accordingly. Or agar if they are chaotic, directionless, agitated, fear, we will find that the similar neural pathways become, and then they become our default mode, our swabhav, our behavior, our character eventually. So we have to be very, very careful. And you also mentioned कि जो शास्त्रों में historically it has been mentioned कि सत्संग करें. अब सत्संग का मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो गाना बजाना या कीर्तन या ढोलक जिसको आजकल जैसे करते हैं. सत्संग का मतलब यही है कि something which is relevant, which is truthful, in the sense that will lead us to something positive in our life, and which will correct our paths wherever we are going. According to neuroscience, you already mentioned neuroplasticity is brain's ability to adapt to whatever we are practicing, to our environment in which it finds. So if those things are agitated, brain will adapt accordingly, and then it becomes those impressions. और अगर वो काम है, मीनिंगफुल है, थॉटफुल है, रिफ्लेक्टिव है. और न्यूरोसाइंस में why does, okay, why we can say neuro pathways ban gaye to hame kya farak padta? Because there is a what we is also call a primitive brain, uh, uh, amygdala jisko kehte hain. It is a almond shaped part of our brain at the back of our head, right on the top of the spinal cord, jisko animal brain bhi kehte hain. And that is where all the our reactions takes place. So if we see something peaceful, something loving, a positive emotion will come out of amygdala. And if it is fear, jealousy, anger, so similar will. So animals में यही रहता है accordingly, because their brain is not as developed. But as human beings and certain animals as well, they actually exhibit certain behaviors which are far more complex. They are able to think more. So in our brain as well, according to neuroscience, we have prefrontal cortex, where all these complex decisions and emotions are taking place. But in order for amygdala to convert these reactions into responses, where a lot of consideration has taken place, it has to have neural pathways, because neuroscience considers our brain as an electrochemical organ. अब उसमें वो इलेक्ट्रिकल सिग्नल्स हैं या वो केमिकल सिग्नल्स हैं, वो for them to travel from amygdala to prefrontal cortex so they can get processed, the neural
Okay.
pathways have to be there. And if these neural pathways do not exist, or they are broken for some, then we have to take meditation or do meditation to create these. Otherwise people go into anxiety, depression, etc. And psychologists and psychiatrists give some treatment. So the bottom point is, we have to cultivate, we have to practice, we have to build these neuro pathways in such a way that you know the our life, our behavior becomes very, very positive, mindful. And therefore, to your point, choose our conversations carefully. They are affecting us silently, and whatever we practice, our brain will adapt accordingly.
यप ना दैट्स वंडरफुल साहब, बहुत बढ़िया। देखिए, जैसे आप कई बार फीलिंग भी होती है आपको, आप किसी अच्छी कंपनी में जाएं, जिसे सत्संग सो टू स्पीक हम कह सकते हैं, और उसमें बातचीत आपकी थॉटफुल है, मीनिंगफुल है, तो वो जो आपका टाइम स्पेंट इन दैट मीटिंग और इन दैट डिस्कशन, यू कम आउट विद ए नाइसर फीलिंग। आपको लगेगा यार टाइम वर्थ स्पेंट, बढ़िया, आज का दिन बढ़िया निकला, बढ़िया मीटिंग रही। और
Well
उसकी
said.
जगह अगर आप बिल्कुल शैलो, मीनिंगलेस, इधर उधर की बातें, गॉसिप मंगरिंग करके आएंगे ना, तो आप भी डिसोरिएंटेड, ओवर एक्साइटेड, ओवर स्टिमुलेटेड से माइंड से आएंगे, एंड दैट विल लिंगर ऑन विद यू। तो ये जो ओवर एंगर है, ओवर एक्साइटेड, ओवर स्टिमुलेटेड माइंड जो है, और डायरेक्शनलेस है, this is definitely harmful to the brain. And as you pointed out, that you need the development of the neural pathways from your back of your mind to the front of your mind. अगर वो pathways नहीं है, अगर वो pathways नहीं है, then you suffer. Cognitive skills will decline, your memory will decline, which is onset of dementia and things like that. So to help prevent these mental diseases, I think it's good to have thoughtful, meaningful discussion in a orderly fashion. One of the ways to do that is indulge in satsang formal. लेकिन वैसे भी जब आप किसी ग्रुप में बैठते हैं, किसी डिस्कशन में बैठते हैं, पिकनिक पे हैं, कहीं भी हैं, just be mindful and be aware of this, that if you are indulging in shallow, meaningless discussions, it's not helping you. It is actually doing harm to yourself. Now, कई बार ये कहा जाता है कि यार देखो, I enjoy that banter, just common banter, इधर उधर की बात करें. So I think just to be aware that common banter, unstructured, leg pulling and this, that is actually harming you, physically harming your brain.
There is a hidden cost.
There is a hidden cost that you pay for that. Although you're liking it, you might be enjoying it at the expense of somebody else.
Yes.
Somebody else pulling somebody else. You might be just a spectator and enjoying that light, banter, meaningless, type discussion. And some people enjoy in that. So just be mindful that enjoyment then becomes a habit. And then आपको जो intellectual type discussions है, थोड़ी reflective discussions है, उनमें आपकी दिलचस्पी नहीं रहती. कोई आप 4-5 आदमी देखोगे ग्रुप में बैठे होंगे ना, उसमें एक आदमी थोड़ा सा इंटेलेक्चुअल टाइप डिस्कशन ही मिलेगा, बाकी लोग सो जाएंगे उसमें, जो कि इस तरह की लाइटर और मीनिंगलेस बातों के यूज टू है ना, पर्पसलेस जिसे आप कहते हैं, नो रेलेवेंस एट ऑल, उसके अगर यूज टू है तो वो उनको नींद आनी शुरू हो जाती है कि ये क्या बातें हो रही हैं. And the other side of the coin, those people who are used to rather or indulge more often in a thoughtful, reflective conversations, they get bored by the other side of the things as well, because they are used to, getting that pleasure, that extension of the neural pathways, which gives them a feeling of enjoyment. नाइसर फीलिंग आती है उससे, ब्रेन आपका हेल्दी फील हो, आपकी मेमोरी इंप्रूव करती है, आपकी थिंकिंग इंप्रूव कर रही होती है, और आपको लगता है आपने कोई चीज को रखी हो ना, मेरे को तो कई बार ऐसा भी हुआ, कहीं भूल जाओ ना, एंड आफ्टर अ नाइस डिस्कशन और नाइस सॉर्ट ऑफ फीलिंग, इट कम्स टू मी जस्ट लाइक दैट. आपकी थिंकिंग ज्यादा ऑर्डरली हो जाती है. So it's just our idea. I mean, we are not subject matter expert in these things, but it's our, own experiences that we sort of learn through, and we would like to share with people, and just be making people aware of that. Look, there is a purpose why we indulge in reflective, thoughtful discussions. It's not, that some people say, "Oh, look, you're trying being too intellectual." Because others, they are not used to it. So, it's understandable. But the idea is not to portray ourselves as being more intellectual than the rest. The idea is to have that meaningful discussion so our brain continue to function better than if we indulge in the discussions the other way around. So I hope people will take note of it, and it's for their own benefit, for their own health, for their own brain health rather. And this has nothing to do with, well, in many ways it has to do with mental health, but mental health is a different aspect, the whole gamut of it, the stress, how we react, and how we respond to a situation. Whereas this idea of having a meaningful, thoughtful discussions, it is just the physical growth, physical better development of your brain, as we see the neural pathways, the connections from the back to the front, as you said, which improves your cognitive skills, which improves your memory, which improves the chances of not having dementia in older age. So that's just what my take is. Anything else you want to add?
Just for the clarification, it is not to devalue the light banter or humor, etc.
Yes.
Actually, the meaningful discussion has to be humorous and light
Humorous,
banter,
yes.
and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
basic point is that understand that whatever we do, whatever we practice, our brain adapts accordingly. So it's not to promote that we should be serious all the time. As a matter of fact, we should be light, calm,
Yes.
peaceful.
Yeah.
And that starts reflecting, whenever we
Yes.
meet people, and how we behave. Keep the humor, be light, and
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
enjoyable. It should be enjoyable.
Enjoyable होना चाहिए. Absolutely. Absolutely. No. I think if I'm sort of misrepresented myself, it's a light banter and humor is essential part of intellectual discussion too.
Just wanted to clarify it so that it is not
absolutely,
misunderstood.
absolutely. It's part of intellectual discussion too. Otherwise, it becomes too instructive, too boring, too me versus you. So we have to avoid that. We have to avoid that. The structure gives you that kind of a bit of a leeway to bring humor into this without demeaning others, without sort of lowering the prestige of others, without talking over others. The idea is to remain
engaging discussion. It should be
engaging discussion, engaging and respectful discussion. They have a much better impact on your brain development as against the disorderly, chaotic, and meaningless discussions. So, ये purpose था साहब आपका, just to make people aware of this. That is good to engage in an organized way in a discussion rather than just random, chaotic, which helps nobody. So, anything else, Sam, you want to add?
No, that's very good. Thank you.
That's good. Okay, साहब, तो इसको यही समेटते हैं आप इस टॉपिक को. तो अगली बार किसी नए टॉपिक के साथ आपसे फिर मुलाकात करेंगे. Bye for now.